Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Scoot channel where we like to interview anyone who has walked the earth. Today, we are bringing back somebody who worked during the Industrial Revolution, Choi Shu, child laborer.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, so is it true that child labor negatively impacted the children of the Gilded Age by limiting their education, worsening their health, and putting distance between them and their families?
I feel that child labor was necessary because my family needs the financial support. If I wasn't working, then my family would not be able to hold itself together and we would all end up on the street.
Why don't you tell us about the conditions of your job?
I started working when I was 6 years old in a factory. I worked 10 to 12 hours a day and made around $6 to $8 a week.
That's a very young age you start working, and those are very long hours. When did you have the time to get an education?
I didn't have an education. I'm illiterate and dropped out of school because I needed to focus on my job.
How did your job affect your health?
It really did not help my physical or mental health. I worked in dirty and dangerous conditions. I had malnutrition, respiratory diseases, basically no social life, and depression.
I'm sure your family helped you out through your tough times, right? How is your relationship with them?
Actually, I barely talked to my family at all. I had no time to because I worked around 10 to 12 hours a day. My relationship with my family was not healthy, and I barely knew them as I was growing up.
Wow, I cannot imagine having to grow up in these tough conditions. What was the reason that you did it?
I did it because I had to. If I didn't go to work and instead pursued a higher education, my family would have had to live on the streets because we would not be able to afford rent. Everyone had to contribute to make sure that we had a place to stay and food to eat. Oh my god, I came from the 1800s and I just found this telegraph. Look at this thing. Look at that. Look at that. Whoa, what is this? Oh my god, I've never seen anything like this before. Oh my god, this is amazing. Everyone had to contribute to make sure that we had a place to stay and food to eat.
Don't you think that child labor negatively impacted your health and your life?
I personally think that even if I was a little distance from my family, even though I had to work long hours with low wages, my life was pretty good compared to what I had before. I think that education isn't really necessary, and that it's good that I can help provide for my family. Even though I know that my life can definitely be better, I am not upset with that now. Everyone's life can always get better, and if you focus on what you can get instead of what you have, then you'll never be satisfied. And thinking back to what I had with my family, a little extra work is nothing if it will keep them happy. This is why I think that child labor is good, even if it causes some mental problems and some physical ones too.
But wouldn't it be better if your parents had two jobs instead of you working, allowing you to pursue an education? Isn't the point of parents to ensure that their child has the best possible future, even if it means that they have to work a little harder or put a little more burden on themselves? I think that having children work is definitely not the right option, because getting their children an education and keeping them healthy, especially when they're in the most important stages of their physical growth, should be the priority of the parents. This way, they can ensure or at least give the child a chance to have a better life than what they're living right now.
I actually agree with what you said, Bernard. I guess that wouldn't work for some families if the child is unhappy, but in my case, everything turned out exactly how I wanted it to be.
Well, thank you for clarifying and explaining to us your views about child labor in the Gilded Age and what it was like in the Gilded Age. Goodbye and good night, viewers, and please tune in next Saturday for another interesting episode of the Scoot channel where we like to interview anyone who has walked the earth.